car breaks down outside a dusty old auto shop on the edge of town. She expects nothing more than a quick fix. But inside, working quietly under flickering fluorescent lights, is an elderly mechanic with steady hands and a quiet focus. Something about the man, his presence, his craft, sticks with her long after she leaves. A week later, she returns, hoping to say thank you. But when she gets there, the shop is closed. The lights are out. The doors are locked. And what she learns next leaves her frozen on the sidewalk, heart racing. Before we continue the story, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy real stories that touch the heart, subscribe. Because tomorrow, we're sharing another one. The sun dipped low behind the hills as amber light bathed the outskirts of Portland. Her name was Riley Quinn, and she had just finished a stressful day of traveling. Cross-state advocacy meetings, radio interviews, and a long stretch of empty road behind her. The moment her 2004 Civic began rattling and sputtering, Riley winced. Not tonight. Not now. She pulled off the road, spotting a barely visible sign that read, Carter & Sons Auto Repair. It looked like it hadn't seen a customer since the Clinton era. Inside the garage, 72-year-old Frank Carter wiped his hands with a red rag, the same one he'd used for over a decade. He hadn't had an apprentice in 20 years. The and Sons part of the name was a remnant from another life. A son who'd left town and never came back. Just as he was about to shut down for the night, he heard the hiss and clatter of a dying engine. The Civic coughed twice and rolled to a stop right in front of his door. Riley stepped out, pulling her coat tighter around her. She looked around. Rural, quiet, almost forgotten. Frank raised an eyebrow as he stepped outside. "Evening," she called out, gently. "Think you've got time for a miracle?" Frank studied the car, then her. There was something about her eyes. Something strong. "A car's a car," he grunted. "Let's take a look." He popped the hood and got to work, barely saying a word. Riley stood nearby, watching. "You always work alone?" she asked. Frank didn't look up. "Used to have help. Now it's just me and the metal." She smiled. "Honestly, I get that." They didn't speak much more. Frank diagnosed the issue, a busted alternator, and within an hour, had it running smoother than before. "How much do I owe you?" Riley asked, reaching for her purse. Frank shook his head. "Easy fix. Call it a favor." Riley blinked. "You don't even know me." Frank just shrugged. "Don't need to. You needed help. That's enough." Riley stepped forward, extending her hand. "Riley." Frank shook it, his grip rough but warm. "Frank." She started to leave, then paused. "I'll be back. With real coffee. Not that gas station stuff." Frank grunted. "Long as it ain't that pumpkin spice nonsense." Riley laughed, got into her car, and drove away. She had no idea that this gruff old mechanic would end up changing her life. A week passed. Riley kept thinking about that garage, the smell of grease, the way Frank moved with the car like he was listening to it. She'd met a lot of people on her journey, but Frank felt like the kind of person the world forgot too fast. The kind who did the right thing quietly, never asking for thanks. So on a quiet Thursday afternoon, she returned, But something was off. The garage door was closed, the windows dark. A single handwritten note taped to the door, closed indefinitely. Riley stood there in silence, coffee still warm in her hands. From across the street, a man stepped out of the nearby corner store. "You looking for Frank?" he asked. She nodded slowly. He removed his cap, eyes down. "He's in the hospital. Collapsed a few days ago. Chest pains. He didn't tell no one. Just tried to keep working through it." Riley felt her heart sink. She handed the coffee to the man. "Will you give this to him?" The man looked surprised. "You're the woman with the busted Civic?" She nodded. He gave a small smile. "He talked about you. Said you actually listened." Riley didn't wait. She got in her car and drove straight to St. Mary's Hospital, calling in a favor from a journalist friend to get the room number. Room 209. Frank lay there, pale, heart monitor steady but slow. Riley walked in quietly. He cracked one eye open. "Damn. I thought I told you no pumpkin spice." She laughed, walked over, and sat beside him. "It's black, like your soul." Frank smiled faintly. "Doctors say I should slow down. I told them I don't know how." Riley was quiet for a moment. Then, "You helped me, Frank. Now it's my turn." "I don't want your money," he said, eyes narrowing. "Good," Riley said. "I'm not offering it." Frank raised a brow. "I want to help you teach," she said. "Your knowledge, your skill. You've kept that shop alive all these years. There are people out there who need that. Kids who think worth is measured by likes and followers. You know better. You are better." Frank stared at her, the silence thick. "You serious?" he said finally. "As a rebuilt transmission," she replied with a grin. 2 months later, the shop reopened. But this time, it wasn't Carter and Sons. It was the Carter Garage School, where craft still matters. A nonprofit vocational space, funded through community donations and Riley's platform. Frank didn't like the attention, but he loved barking orders at kids holding sockets upside down. Riley returned every weekend, filming their progress, helping with paperwork, bringing coffee, and sometimes pumpkin spice just to annoy him. Frank never called her special or brave. He didn't do speeches. But one evening, as they locked up, he said, "I thought I was the last one who gave a damn." Riley smiled. "You were. Until now." Frank looked up at the new sign and nodded. "Looks like I've still got some teaching left in me." Riley nodded. "And I've still got some learning to do." And together, under the hum of old lights and the echo of 100 turning wrenches, they began something new. Something lasting. Because some stories aren't meant to end in silence.